I saw the little recording light go on, and I was like, all right.
Yeah,
We're getting started, I guess.
Some of this chat in as well. I obviously we are here to talk about Grails, but I don't think everybody formally knows where everybody else is from. We kind of did a little bit of back and forth, but Garrett, do you want to just like introduce yourself and where you're from, just so everybody else knows?
Sure. Let me start off by saying I appreciate Dave on this one because I asked him for this because I get so tired of this concept of Grail, and so I wanted to talk about it with some brain trust in the sneaker game. My name is Garrett, aka the Black Seal on Instagram, IG. I'm a pretty heavy New Balance head from Dallas, Texas.
James, you're next up.
All right. I'm James from Dallas, Texas as well, also known as the kid.james on Instagram, or you can follow the YouTube series Off the Cut. And I am not a New Balance head. We'll leave it. I do like New Balance, but I wouldn't consider myself a head because I don't own a single gray New Balance. So
You're
Dave
cut
kicked
off
me out.
now. That's blasphemy.
That's
I got like 27 pairs of gray.
That's the rule. That's the rule of the game. If you don't have at least 40 pairs of the same gray color New Balance, you're not a part of the gang.
Yo, Grade A is coming up, man. Grade A is coming up.
Yeah, 574. So like I was telling Dave, nobody better jump on this 574 since no one likes 574.
I'm not getting them. They're on sale right now, just so you guys know. You could buy them right now, but I'm not buying.
Let me tell you something. Your 574 is never gonna be on my feet.
Never.
Ever.
I don't know. Those Tokyo studio pair looked pretty nice.
Negative.
Justin, what's up?
Nothing much. Yeah, I'm Justin, originally from New York, currently in Maryland. I guess I'm not a New Balance guy because I don't technically have a pair of gray New Balances. So
See what I'm saying?
Even though you have a ton of
but I do have a lot of other colors.
All the best colors you have.
Look at all that boost sitting behind you.
Yeah. You know, I dabble in all sorts, but I've definitely recently restricted myself to mainly New Balance these days. A little bit of Asics, a little bit Adidas, and you know, my personal boycott of Nike still standing strong there. So
I see a Nike box.
Yeah, I mean that's stuff that I don't buy anymore, but yeah, I still have whatever I had from before.
Oof, you and James, let's see how this works out.
What are you talking about? I don't own any shoes, bro. I don't have anything back here.
Dave, you gonna help me get those grade A 574s? Because I'm not seeing them wherever you're seeing them. I know you got the hookup.
Uh-oh.
I'll show you. I'll send you a link.
Send me a link, bro, because you know I want them. Because I'm not a hater on that. You know, the camo ones in particularly.
Eric.
Yeah, I guess that leaves me. I'm Eric. I'm an attorney. I kind of dabble in sneakers. So on Instagram, my name is I_am_Eric_A. I got into photography a little bit and kind of just found it as a passion, and now I love sneakers. I'm much less established than you guys, I guess, in my sneaker collection, but you know, I'm happy to be here, and I have some thoughts about Grails, and I think I'm with Garrett on this one.
Interesting.
Eric follows me. I will follow you back, sir. I just did.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So Grails is a really good topic. I think it's a topic that comes up a lot, and I mean, I remember when I first
Dave, can I tell you something? In this right now, as we were discussing and just kind of getting started, I decided to clear out my inbox from my my email here, and I just found a raffle, or the Sneaker Politics sent me an invoice for the Travis Scott sixes, and I didn't see it.
Wow.
You didn't miss anything.
So
Not a grail. We'll talk about that later.
Not a grail, but that happened right here.
Did that.
What the
So speaking of, I did that last week. I think Justin, you remember in the chat, like I got Concept sent me a notice that I won the Curry dunks.
It was like, what was it, like a week after?
It was like 3 weeks after, and it was in my trash box.
Yeah,
it was in my trash box. I was so pissed. That makes you want to like give up on sneakers.
I'm checking my trash right now just in case I hit on something.
Yeah, what an L, bro. Jeez.
That's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely check my spam box often for those special raffles.
Hey, the worst part is it wasn't in my trash. It was in my standard. It's in my email.
Oh.
That's even worse.
Oh, that is worse. Yeah.
What a L.
Oh,
it's okay. It was the second pair anyway.
Slight flex there. It's just slight right there.
not like
Just a small one.
I
could have had two. Because I could have used it to trade for a grail, boys.
Oh, there's the word. There it is.
Full circle moment right here.
Full circle. But I have a lot to say about grails because Lord have mercy.
I know. So I never really knew what a grail was. I didn't really have very many when I first came back into sneakers. And I have to admit that like the things that I thought were grails initially when I came back to sneakers have fallen out and are not grails to me now, mostly because a lot of them are Jordans, and you know they're readily available, I would say. And I wouldn't say like readily available like you can go buy them for retail, but you can go buy them for resale and they're out there in the market. But I wouldn't buy them because I don't consider them grails. I don't consider them necessary at that point. But I wanted to talk about grails. Garrett brought up this great topic, and it's very interesting because I think a lot of people really throw around the word grail a lot now. And I'm curious what everybody else's sort of definition of grails is, and like what are some of the shoes that we consider grails and why.
I think you got to start with like where the term comes from. And I actually have a degree in history. And so, you know, if you really get down deep into it and you talk about the cup used by Jesus at the Last Supper, right? And then all of these quests started happening, these nights in the 13th century, like following this mythical thing, which is this idea that Jesus had this cup. So, okay, let's put it into sneaker game. It's a quest. You're chasing something. That is a grail to me. Like if you can readily get it, if you go into Foot Locker and say that this new Boost Aqua, whatever the 1.0 that just came out as a grail, no, it's not. It's readily available. It's right there. It's not hard to find.
I kind of agree with Garrett a little bit. Taking out, so I understand the religious meaning, but taking that out, you know, it's something that's extremely sought after for historical purposes. You know, I'm not interested in kind of repeating history too much unless it's going forward. You know, like. I like style going forward. Like I pick shoes that I think are going to be cool when I put them on my feet 6 months from now. Not so much like, you know, going back in time a lot. You know, chasing grails is really like chasing something that you missed out on. And the quest is a good analogy to me because it's like, you know, it feels like at the end of the day, even if you get that shoe, like, was it worth it? I don't know. I don't have that kind of chase in me. Like I just like what I like. I like the shoes. I like the thing. I have some thoughts about shoes that I really love, but I'm kind of with Garrett on the term is kind of overused a lot for a lot of shoes that you can acquire.
I feel like, well, the term itself, right? So the grail itself within this culture is very ambiguous because at the same time, like art, it's objective. because to you, a grail could be something that is obviously not a grail to me or to anybody else. And that kind of frustrates me because a lot of these, like you said, if you say, you know, a pair of Ultra Boosts is a grail, well, to me, that's not a grail. It shouldn't be a grail because, again, it is available. But at the same time, I can't tell somebody what their grail shoe is or isn't. But the term and what I see, my problem with it as a whole is that you dilute what a real grail is. You know, like Indiana Jones and the quest for the Holy Grail. You know what I'm saying? People died. It was a struggle. It was hard. People had to work for it. And I think that term has become very loose. And I think a lot of it has to do with how people use it to kind of increase the value of what they have. Oh, I got my grail because I got the bread one. No, you didn't get the grail. That's not your grail. That's just a really cool shoe that you really wanted, and you're hyping it up because you wanted to give it more prestige than it really has, right? A grail is a shoe that you can't get. That no matter how hard you want it and it's desperate and you really want it, it's just not available. And the risk of finding that actual shoe has consequences. It could be fake. It's a phony. It's going to cost too much. It's not there. Your size wasn't even made. There was 3 of the one you want, and it's David Beckham owns them. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a struggle that goes along with it. So if I go on StockX and buy the shoe right there, that's not a grail. That's a shoe that's available to me right there. Like there are shoes in preparation for this conversation. I wanted to think back to what was my grail shoe. And though there are many shoes that I absolutely desperately want, if I had the money, I could get just about any of them, right? My problem is that that doesn't make them grails. But again, who am I to tell somebody what their grail shoe is or isn't? For me, a shoe that I consider a grail would be like, you know, a London SB. You know what I mean? That shoe is decades old. I couldn't even tell you where to start looking for that shoe. If I wanted, it's going to cost me $20,000, and I'm going to have to go through some work to get it. You know what I mean? And that's a grail shoe. When you get it, you're like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if I want to wear it because I put that much effort into it. Now,
I've never had that experience. I've never had that experience. So I mean, I completely, I get what you're saying. Like, I didn't mean to offend you if I did.
Oh, no. I'm agreeing with you. You know what I mean? Like like in order for me to consider a shoe a grail, like there has to be a desperate effort to go after it and put in the legwork. At least that's what I see a grail as, right? Yeah. Like you have to really care, like that much, and it has to be that hard to get. Because just because it's old and it's cool, that doesn't make it a grail.
And I think you used the word that I think the hype beast of the world like Harrison Neville confuse here. Want. It's something you want. There's a lot of things I want, but they're not grails. They're right. Like you brought up, they're readily available. You can go to StockX right now and purchase it if you really want it that bad. But I agree with James 1,000,000%. It's something that is going to, the struggle is real. And you were talking about, and I brought this up on a different podcast, but my grail in my head right now is the 2015 998 DJ Clark Kent Global Spin Award. There's only 75 in existence, and I wear a size 9. And we have speculated. I've talked to other New Balance heads about this shoe, and some like it and some don't, and blah blah blah. I don't care. It's what I want, and we've talked about it. Maybe there's 5 to 6 of that particular shoe in existence, and I think I know who four of those people are that have them. And and 2 are probably in somebody's closet that they don't even know that they have because they actually went to the Global Spin Awards, and it's just packed in the back of their closet. And so either I'm gonna have to go in people's closets that were on that guest list, or I'm gonna have to get Jim to give me his pair. Come on, Jim, give me your pair. No, Jim actually, did you see Dave? Jim said he'll will it to me.
I did. I saw that.
But again, I think it's that word want. Want and grail aren't the same thing.
Absolutely. I mean, you think of shoes like, and the thing like PEs, right? People will consider PEs a grail. I don't think, to me, those aren't grails. That's just a really hard shoe to get because they were made for exclusive, and they only make so many of them. And I don't know why. I can't even really give you an answer to why I don't feel like a PE is a grail. But to me, it's not, because I don't think it was necessarily available to everybody. Which is completely incoherent and ridiculous, but that's just how I feel about PEs.
And you guys really spelled it all out and I don't have to really say much of anything. but, but I mean, I guess for me, the point for me that I think is the most important is is what I think a lot of people might not think of is the grail is actually the quest that you go on to actually get whatever item it is at the end of that quest. You know, the process of spending the who knows days, months, years of research and trying to figure out where the shoes are, you know, is it accessible, like what do you have to do to get to it, and all that work and effort that you put through it. I feel like that's part of the grail itself.
The journey is the reward.
Yeah, you know, and yeah, like James said, shoes that are easily accessible in a sense, I don't see how you can call them grails, because what all you did was go on StockX and you spent $1,000 and there you go, wow, grail. Woo. It's like it's such an easy thing for you to do. It's like I just can't see something like that as being a grail.
And I think in this culture, we live in such an instant gratification society. Like everything is in your reach. And like Justin just brought up with the StockX's and things, you know, it is, you know, that I just caught the Grail the other day, the 997 home plate. That's not a rare shoe, like at all. But it took me 2 years to find it in my size, and I got it for $90. And, you know, I think it's cool that people are in this market that really know, you know, like we talked about before, like community. Like to me, what's really cool about New Balance, but also just the community in general, back to this sneaker community, is making people aware of your grails. And I have people reach out to me who are aware of what I'm looking for and like, hey, did you see this? And no, I didn't. Thanks for that. Like Poshmark, I don't use Poshmark, but I bought two pairs of shoes the last month off Poshmark because my grail, that's where I found the 997 home plate. And Sola Bundy, Shakur, he sent me, he was like, hey, I found your grail. And he sent it to me and I was like, yes.
Oh man. That's
And
gotta be such a reward.
That leads me back to like, you know, grails like art at the same time. It's subjective because again, I wouldn't consider that a grail, but you would, and you put the struggle in to get it. You know, like if I was to ask you, what would you consider a top tier grail? What shoes would you say? Right, top tier, mainstream, everybody knows and probably would consider these and agree with you. What shoe would you throw out? I wonder if our list would be different.
I agree with you in which shoe is the grail, because we all have different personalities. We all have wants and desires. They're just totally different. I agree with that 100%. I disagree with the use of the word grail when it just means want. And right. So for me, my grails are going to be different than your grails because I am very New Balance heavy. But when at the top of my list, as it stands, as I said, was the DJ Clark Kent. But then there's also my buddy Mike from Ohio hit me to the 998 Berlin. There's only 26 of them, and they were given out at an opening of a New Balance store in Germany. Only 26. I've never seen that shoe out in the wild. And it wasn't like, I totally get what you're saying, James, with the PE, because the PEs were designed specifically for a particular person. So to me, that's just kind of out of the question. But yeah, people still chase them as grails, but I'm with you. I don't believe that personally is a grail because it's only designed for Mike Bibby or is only designed for whoever. And so that gets kind of weird. And okay, I can see it's a grail, but it's just not what I believe it to be a grail. But again, you know, I'd even add like the 998 J. Crew Concrete Jungle. Like that shoe's not hard to find, but it's what you brought up earlier, James, about the cost. I can't see paying an extreme cost for that particular shoe. Like right now, I know I think on StockX, there's a pair in my size for $1,000. That's ridiculous. I'm not paying $1,000 for that shoe. 400, yeah, I probably will. But 1,000? Like, where are you even getting that? Like, I'm pretty sure I can find a used pair at some point in my life. Somebody like Dave will be cleaning out their closet and they're like, oh, look at this. I'm going to sell it. And I'll be there to scoop it up, you know?
Yeah.
But I agree with you.
So let me ask let me ask a question about, because I know StockX has come up a couple of times. And so this sort of leads me to this question of, have resale sites like StockX, Goat, have they ruined grail hunting? Has it eliminated the actual hunts? Because I think you both, or you all, hit on the point of like, spending a lot of money is not necessarily grail hunting, right? So like, is it finding it for a reasonable price? Is it finding it for retail? Is it finding it for less than retail? Or is it finding something that's obscure, but like the DJ Clark Kents, if you paid $800 for them, but it was on StockX, would you consider that you acquired a grail?
I think that I think there's a balance there. I think, because I feel like even as we were preparing for this discussion, I was thinking about it. I think it's just the extreme and then the rarity. Like after you and I had a discussion about the mallards, I went out there and I bought them because I knew how, I asked you and I asked a few other people how rare the concept mallards were. And so if you see the last purchase on StockX, it was for $431 because I bought it. I bought those particular shoes because I also know that they don't come up. They don't come up at all. Now on that, you bring up the DJ Clark Kent, that would be a hard one for me. If it just popped up on, Goat for $1,000, woo! I think because I just know it's more, compared to say like Concrete Jungle. How many Concrete Jungles were released? Like thousands?
I'd say 2,000. It's probably like 2,000 out there.
Okay, that to me, I know I can find those at some point compared to say even like the Berlins or the Clark Kents, like they just don't come up. And the one that Jim have, I think he sold, because I know the guy that sold them to him. He sold them for like $100. Like that's crazy, right? But yet right now, I think there's a size 11 on eBay for 500. I think that's reasonable to me.
I think what these sites like StockX, Goat, and eBay, what they've done is they've made grail. If you have a certain amount of money, they become more accessible to you, right? So if you're willing to pay the price, you can get that grail now without having to put in the effort. That's what I think it did. Before that, you had to go find these things. You had to do the work to get them. Now, if you have enough money, right? It's the grail that I named. If I wanted that shoe, I could pay 22 grand right now on StockX and buy that shoe. You know what I'm saying? If I had that kind of money, sure. And I was willing to just waste it that quickly and that easily. Then that's what they did. They made them accessible, and they made the work essentially kind of take a step back. You don't have to do the effort. But for like normal humans like us, I don't think that applies. I think in order for us to achieve a grail of sort, we would have to put in the work. So all StockX and those things did was make it accessible to the rich, for people that have a looser income. You know what I'm saying? But like when I think of grails, you've got shoes like they can go anywhere from anything from, a Fragment 1 could be considered a grail. For me, a Miro 7 is a grail. That doesn't come up very often. You have to go find it. Sure, you can find it on StockX for $2 grand, but that shoe you don't find that in every sneaker shop. You can't walk into every resale shop and find them. So that's a shoe that would fall into that. But then you start getting into the hierarchy of these type of things. The Kanye West Grammy Air Yeezy 1, you know what I'm saying? That shoe just sold for what was it, $3 million? Something crazy like that. That's an unattainable sneaker for all of us. And that's when you guys are like mad rich, then then you can get that. I can't. But then you start, and then from there you work your way down. You've got your Derek Jeter 11. That's a grail. Very limited release. Only so many of them around. The Eminem Encore 4s. They only did 50 pairs, and it went to his friends and family. So if you had to work to get that, or you had to know somebody, or you had to know somebody who and it leads me back to what Garrett said. A community. Like one of the grails that I was able to get, in order to get that contact, like somebody was like, "Hey man, I know somebody who's got your size in that Eminem. Let me put you in contact." And then that person put me to the next person. That put me to the next person. That put me to the next person. When I finally was able, and then the negotiation started, and it ended up costing me damn near 10 pairs of sneakers at the time. This was a couple years back, to get it. And so like the effort was there, but also the sense of community, and there was no StockX or any of these type of platforms at the time. So I put in that effort. And that was probably the last time I went after a Grail shoe. That
sounds like hearing you guys talk about Grails a little bit more. I understand the concept from your perspective a lot better. Like from my, I'd say that I started really collecting earnestly, like probably in the past year and a half, 2 years, maybe 3 years. But I've always been a fan of, sneakers and stuff. And I kind of have a rule that I just don't pay above retail. Like I just refuse to pay, $500 for the shoe that should cost 120. So I guess I have a lot of Grails out there that I need to start working on, because I'm part of this. I'm new to this community, and thank you guys for welcoming me. This is kind of exciting, but I'm kind of new to the community aspect of it. So I guess I got to figure out some Grails I got to tell you guys about, so I can I can get the hookup.
Well, yeah, and that's the beauty of it, because you're jumping in and getting to see all these cool shoes. So like you have an infinite list of things.
Like diving into the ocean, baby. Let's go.
And that's again, that's the subjective part of it, because they're to me, like a shoe that I find to be like for a New Balance, right? Like a Kennedy. That's a shoe that I find that's a Grail, because I know I'm not going to put in that crazy effort to go get it. But if I had my opportunities and would work my way towards it, I would go for that shoe in that way.
Not a Grail.
But it's not, you know what I mean? But because I'm using it in the wrong, it's in the wrong context, right? Like it shouldn't fit there. Neither is the Mars Yard. That shouldn't be, even though it's a top tier, hard to get shoe. It just doesn't fit that what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't fit the tier, right? Like I can get that shoe, and so can you. Without having to try.
So this is an interesting thing, and I know Justin wanted to say something, but like I want to just jump in on the Kennedys real quick. So for me, the Kennedys used to be a Grail, but then when Concepts re-released them with the red pair and they became readily available, they were no longer a Grail to me. And I have them, and they're great, and I love them, and I don't love them any less. But for me, they are not a Grail because they are not hard to find. I would say if you bought them at retail, or if you can find them brand new or barely used at like retail or below retail, then yes, you've acquired a Grail. But the moment they became widely available, the moment there was a wide release, I don't think it was a Grail anymore. I think that diminished its status as a Grail shoe, just from being able to find it and being able to purchase it. I wouldn't say in terms of the sneaker itself being like any less valuable or any less wearable or desirable, but ultimately like it's not a Grail. It's not one of those shoes that like I have to go out and hunt for now, or that I would think, man, I'm never gonna find a pair in my size.
Yeah.
But the original one though,
the original one's still tough to get.
The original one is still tough to get.
That I would consider a Grail.
Well, there you go. There you go. You just contradict yourself. Nice going.
I mean, I'm just saying the new one. Like you couldn't say like you couldn't buy like the most recent release and say I got my Grail. Like that's
right.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's
no. I wouldn't call the re-release a Grail. No, it's nowhere near anything like that. But at least
if I put you on the spot right now, everybody, what's the Grail right now? What one shoe that off the top of your head, bang, just fire it off. What's the one shoe?
Salmon Toe 1.0 with the wooden box.
Okay, I like that. Not terrible.
Look at him going, Ronnie. Hey,
Ronnie brought me into the sneaker game, so Ronnie's got my. It's Ronnie was the guy who brought me into the sneaker game. I gotta admit that's how I started. So
and he's the guy that will push you right out of it.
That's the salmon toes and not the massage. That's interesting.
I got the massage, so
okay, damn, all right.
Well, the 5th anniversary pair, but yeah.
Okay.
The 43.
Garrett, what about you?
What's the 43 Einhab? The New Balance 1500.
Those 1500s.
They only made 3 pair of them, I think. That's my Grail.
I don't even know if you can call that a released pair. So
no, I mean technically, but I mean, I think it's less than a PE. It's more of a grail than a PE would be, because there was a actual release for the shoe. It wasn't like something that was ultimately unattainable. They just only made it for this raffle or release winner, right? So like, I
I mean,
wouldn't
they
be able
only
to get it.
raffled one pair, so
Yeah, they
two
raffled
of
off
the
one.
two of the pairs never got released. I don't know,
Yeah.
but anyway, it's like
That's my grail. I think, it's amazing shoe.
it is.
What you got, Garrett?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the DJ Clark Kent. Like, that's the 998 Global Spin Award. I might have even asked him for a pair, I think. I talking about that hunt. Like, who else would ask him for a pair? I think I did. And he did, he Heisman'd me, but it's fine. It's part of the journey. And, only thing I would add to that to you all is, I have captured, say 3 of my grails, and they did take extended time. And I think it makes it that much more sweet. And when I'm looking into my sea of shoes, which I have, that continue to pile up, like they mean something more to me than, I know that everybody's on the 992 kick right now. Yeah, there's some 992s that I'm interested in, because I would argue that's probably the shoe that I wear the most, gray. So if y'all want to jump back into the gray, get the 992. But
Justin and I have to jump in first.
jump in the water. No, Justin's he's got something that I would consider one of my, like, if I'm looking at grails, I want that ALD 990 V2 that he's sitting on, but we don't wear the same size, or I'd be harassing him for it.
Well, I thought you said you wear a size 9, right?
That's what I said. I would be harassing you if I knew that we wore the same size.
Yeah, I do. We do wear the same size. So.
You wear a 9?
Yeah, I wear a 9.
Oh, I'm gonna start hitting you up right now for it.
Eric, what's yours?
I don't know, man. I gotta think about it. I guess the one pair that I that I kind of like recent. I'm just thinking recent stuff. I'm kind of a New Balance guy. I like New Balance. I like those, and these are probably easy grails, but I looked up those Paperboy Paris 992s. And they were like $1,000, and I was like, there's no effing way I'm paying any money for that. So like in my situation where I am not gonna pay $1,000 for a sneaker, I got to get crafty with some trades. I gotta figure out how to get to that level, so that if I'm gonna achieve that goal, then I got to get to work, I guess. But I've never gone on a quest, so I'm actually kind of excited.
And so like this kind of brings me back, like that is a shoe that, like, to me, just because I'm like super deep in New Balance and I have like 8 992s, right? Like, it's not that shoe is not crazy to me, right? It's not something I would consider a grail. And it should be a grail because of the limited nature of it, but it shouldn't be a grail where it's $1,000 and you have to drop $1,000 to go buy it. Yeah. And for me, that is what has kind of ruined the status or the grail status of so many shoes for me, right? Because if StockX didn't exist, if GOAT didn't exist, if all of these resale sites didn't exist, with the network that exists between the New Balance community, you could get that shoe, yeah, and you could get it for a reasonable price, right? Like you could get it for like $300 without all of that, because the hunt and the worthwhile and putting in the effort in that quest would make it attainable at that price, and the people in the community wouldn't necessarily be clamoring over a shoe that would be really hard to get rid of at $1,000, right? Like if StockX and GOAT didn't exist, it'd be really hard to sell a shoe for $1,000. It was really hard to sell a shoe for $1,000 before StockX and GOAT. There were like 4 sneakers that could go for like $1,000. before those resale sites popped up, right? So now, because it was a real, and this has always been my thing, it's always been a real grind for resale. Resale was a grind. It was like, okay, I got these 4 sneakers that I copped this Saturday that are really popular. How do I tap into the communities that are into this sneaker and then sell it for the best price to get some little margin of a profit, right? And it was really hard to sort of do that. It was really hard to connect buyer and seller, and now it's not. And so things that were grails for people, like it's like there are so many shoes that like I really love, but they're not grails to me anymore because they're there. And I feel
You
like
know,
that kind of ruined that shoe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I completely get it. Like the concept of that being a grail for me is not like, that's not a grail for me. Really, it's not, you know, like I wouldn't use that term for it. Like that would be a quest for me. That would be something fun that I could go on a quest for, you know. I think, you know, a lawsuit sneaker would be like something where Nike sued somebody for, like, I want one of those.
the Ari Mentals. There you go.
That's a real grail, because as an attorney I find that stuff interesting, and I guess now I'm kind of like, yeah, I see the allure of that, because that would be really hard for me to obtain, and I'd have to use a lot of my connections both in the sneaker community and probably in the legal community as well.
I think it goes back to that same thing for you though, Eric, and that's something I was sitting here jotting down as I was listening to you. One thing I would warn you against, and using that 990 V2 ALD that now Justin's sitting on, that he's gonna somehow give to me. Be aware of certain people that are sitting on those shoes, and I don't mean Justin. I mean that particular shoe. I saw a YouTube clip of a kid that has like 100 pairs of those, and he's just sitting on them, and he has no desire to ever release them, because the longer he sits on them, the more that drives the price up. And he's not in the community. He doesn't care about you or I. In using the paper boys, for example, there's somebody that beat that website that is sitting on those shoes, and they're just waiting, because they're going to wait you out. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen how some of these modern day resellers do it. They buy whole size runs of whatever shoe, and they put it in storage, and they forget about it. And then, you know, when rents due or whatever, they come and handpick which ones they like, selecting lines or something. They handpick which ones are going out. And using, again, that 992 ALD V2, 990 V2 ALD. Anyways, it's somewhere, but you don't ever see those. I always find, like, if you pay attention long enough, you'll see shoes that you'll start to see creep into the used market.
Yeah.
You don't see that shoe in the used market because people are sitting on them, and that will drive that price up, just like we're talking about. Just like Dave said, I think the community would take care of the community. And yeah, you might have to pay a little bit more than you would like to pay for something. But, you know, you jumping even into, you just said one that Nike sued over, and get that Ari Menthol 10, that what is it, the Air Force One, like that. But you still can buy that shoe for $2,000 if you really want it. But again, it's what community is going to take care of you in that, and you know, help you find that or come off of that. You know, we have somebody in the New Balance community in the size 9 that just pretty much sold his whole damn collection. And so it was, you know, what he got, what can I get from you? And he,
I saw that.
Alex and like, he just sold his whole damn collection, and he's a good guy. And what's funny is, you know, back to knowing who has what in the journey and everything. Somebody sent me what Alex was selling, and I laughed, and they're like, "What are you laughing about?" I was like, 2 of those shoes I sold him. And so, like, but we took care of each other in that world too. Like, Dave, you saw that I bought, you know, I've been getting into the Diadora, and I bought the Concept, Lyra. I bought those from Alex.
Nice.
He hooked it up. Like, but he also knows when I sold him a pair of 997s, DTLRs that I got for nothing, and I know he's in the community, so I sold him them for nothing, and I hope he passed that on to somebody else that, you know, we should take care of each other.
Yeah.
Agreed.
James, as a, I know you're like the deepest into the Nikes, into Nike, and so the rest of us are sort of like New Balance heavy, or
Right.
dabble in other brands. Do you find that it is harder to establish or to have something as a grail, or find or hunt down things, especially newer things, as a Nike person? Because, and like, this is my perspective, and it might not be accurate for you, but my perspective is the Nike community isn't like as tight knit as, or as like anti mainstream as some of the other communities. So like if an Air Jordan 1s drops, there's more people that aren't into Air Jordan 1s that have that shoe than there would be if it was like a New Balance shoe. So do you find it like harder to hunt down newer things at retail prices? Like,
Yes, absolutely. It's just as a whole. I mean, Nike is the most popular brand in the, if not it's one of the most popular brands in the world. So every one of their products resells for whatever. At this point, even their trashiest shoes will make some money on top of it. So it's a constant rat race to try to get whatever you can. If you were, if you're invested in this world right now, I mean, everything goes from kid shoes to, all the way from toddlers to adults. It all sells out because there's money to be made. So when you're fighting against not only the people within the community, but also the people that are taking advantage of it, the resellers, the guys who are making money, and that's not hating on anybody who's trying to make their hustle, but that's the name of the game now. So buying anything is a nightmare. Finding a grail, because so much is dropping, it's harder to find. It's harder to even classify a shoe a grail, right? So like, there's nothing that's dropped recently that I would, nothing in the last 10 years that I would even consider a grail. Maybe even 20. I mean, when I think of a grail, especially in the Nike world, a shoe that I've been hunting for years, I mean, there's only 36 made of them, and that's the Wu-Tang Dunk, 1999. 36 made of them when the friends and family. In order to get them, it's not like I can't jump on StockX and find that shoe. It's not there. You're not gonna find it, right? So in order to get that shoe, it's a true to life hunt to find an actual pair of that's original. And if that's even a thing anymore, if people didn't wear those pairs in 1999, it wasn't like people were holding on to those pairs to see what happens in price range. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not like now now I feel like it's harder to wear a shoe that you buy now because you could make money off of it, right? Like I'm a buy two guy, right? I need one to rock, one to stop in case, you know what I'm saying? How something happens, I need to sell off a pair and buy a new car or something. No, I'm just a hoarder. But you know what I'm saying? Like for me to classify a shoe a grail and to actually want to feel like I can't even get a hold of it is rarer now. Absolutely rarer, because there's only so many shoes that, first of all, they're retro everything. So there's nothing that isn't I mean, fuck, if I wanted a 5, everything is, or an 11, everything basically revolves every 5 years. So if I didn't get the bread 2 years ago, they'll come back in 3 more. So I don't have to worry about it, and that's where it becomes difficult. So for me, like a true grail is something that's just not going to be there. So whether it was worn in so that's basic Nike as a whole, right? Because they retro everything. So in order for it to be classified a real grail, it has to have a significant moment attached to it. Wu-Tang 99, Derek Jeter retiring, Eminem's Encore album. Those things aren't happening. So that shoe's not coming back. And if it does, do they have the rights with those people? You know what I mean? We see the things that are happening with Kobe right now. What happens to every shoe that Kobe ever had? If he doesn't go back to Nike, they'll become grails eventually. How many of those do become? Which ones would you classify a grail? Kobe's Air Jordan 3. That's a grail. That's impossible. Good luck finding it. You know what I mean? Like that's a true to life grail. So like that's what I classify as a grail, and not just a shoe that's kind of a bit of a pain to get, or that like even when you have to be, as Garrett said, invested in the community to find out where to even start looking, right? You even get a sniff of which way to go. Okay, all right. I don't know where it is, but the homie down, that I've known for 20 years, he's gotten a connection, and now he's let me know or where I can start, like where to even start going. Because if you ask me right now, where do I find said Kobe, I would have to reach out to somebody who's deeper in this world. You know what I mean? And there aren't that many people like that anymore.
I would add too, you know, you hit on a term, because I am a recovering Nike addict. Hello. Originally, you know, we got that question, what was that first shoe that you considered a grail? It was the Jordan 5 Grapes from 1990. And, you know, we as sneakerheads, and you start back as far as I started, you know, you had that one pair of shoes that you wore to hoop, you wore to school, you wore everywhere in your life. And I tore those Grapes up. When I got those 5s, I tore them up. And they don't come back out until 2000, what was it, like 2006? Like, so if you were going to find that 1990 version, it's crumbling. And I'm not one of those people that like to buy a crumbling shoe. Like, I'm out on that. So that was just done, you know, before Nike really started retroing it, you know, as much as they do. Like, that was just a done shoe in my head. And then, you know, Fresh Prince and everything, you know, people start getting nostalgic, and all of a sudden they want that purple, the white grape again. And, you know, it starts, I think it comes back out again like in 2013 with the Fresh Prince or something. And I think, like Dave kind of landed on earlier, like, then it loses its grail status. Because for me, that was a grail, because I was like, wow, if I could ever find a non-crumbling 1990 you know, Jordan 5 Grape, then that would be cool. And then it feels like they just steal like all the thunder. Like, I can't imagine, like, you know, the people that have the original Air Max 90 Bacons, and then you just retroed that shoe. Like, I know it's different, but it kind of kills it. Like, it kind of kills the glow, right? Like, I know it's different, and you can know there's different elements and materials, and you listen to the whole story behind it, and I know it's a different shoe, 1,000,000%. But it just kind of stills the glow from it, and Nike loves to do that.
But I think it's also on the individual, right? Like me, I wore my Bacons, and I wore them to death, because they're fire. That was the point, right? That was the point. When I got that shoe, the idea was to rock the dust off of them things, because it was a different era. You know what I'm saying? It's a different time. It's not like now. So I beat mine to death. So when they actually announced that they were releasing the Bacons again, I was 100% game. It was like a refill. Let's do it again. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna run it back. But they're still sitting in the trunk of my car. I haven't even brought them in the house yet, but you know what I mean?
They killed it for you.
Nah, bro, what are you talking about? I got a backlog. I haven't gotten through 2013 yet, you know what I mean? Of shoes. Before I even get started on the
James, to answer that, I mean, kind of add on to that, if it was a true grail, then they wouldn't be in your trunk.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have that. Correct. Like you brought up. If they retroed, like you said, those Wu-Tangs, I bet you wore those things about 12 times by now. But they don't.
They dropped the Iowa, like, and I pretended. And that's exactly right. Like, once, and that's why I think it's so hard collectively to agree on what a grail is, because I mean, to be completely honest with you, like, it almost has to be guaranteed that shoe won't be back. You know what I mean? It won't be back. The only reason why, even like a shoe that I would consider a grail that we see constantly come back, it's only because it's the first Jordan ever made, Jordan 1. Now, if you have an 85 pair, that's a grail. Most people can't find that because people wore those shoes and they beat them to death, or they didn't wear them or lost them and they're all gone, or and you see the shape that they're in. But that kick-started a generation or an entire movement, right, in sneakers. So that's why if you have an 85 pair or even a 94, those are badass shoes. Maybe I can let it ride as a grail, because of what their status in this whole thing is, right? But when, you know, even though they re-release them regularly, and again, I say that loosely, I don't necessarily agree that shoe is a grail, but I would probably let that ride for a shoe that's actually re-released constantly. That's why I don't think a lot of the new generational stuff that we see happening, like the Bacons getting re-released, like those aren't really grails. They're just really cool shoes that dropped a long time ago, right? The Sean Witherspoons will probably be a grail to some people in 10 years. If they ever re-release that shoe, would it lose its luster? Probably, but I wouldn't consider it. I wouldn't put that amongst the greats, right? Against an actual grail shoe. Like you'd have to get into like the SB Iron Maidens. Like, that shoe was canceled. They didn't release it. That's a grail. and that's another hard shoe to find. So like as far as Grail go, like it has to have a signature moment that can't be replicated. You know what I mean? And that's what makes it a Grail, because if not, it runs the risk of coming out again. For like a shoe that should be a Grail, right? The Nike SB Brooklyn Project Walk of Fame. The Kruger, but here's the thing: they won't get the license to the Freddy Kruegers, so that won't happen. That shoe is a Grail. They're just out there. But like what I'm saying with the SB Walk of Fame is that shoe could have been a Grail, because when the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce hit them with the cease and desist with the Walk of Fame, like they had to stop making that product, and they only released the 300 that they had already made. And the reason why it's not a Grail is because they released it without they just took off the tag, right? So that shoe was essentially remade to fit the narrative that they wanted, and the shoe is out there in masses. So now that shoe doesn't have the luster that a Freddy Krueger that was supposed to be destroyed, or a story that goes along with it. You know what I mean?
Why couldn't they? I have a question about the Freddy Krueger. Why couldn't they get the license? They just dropped a Nike 95 Freddy Krueger.
Right. So the reason why they wouldn't do it is because I think Nike was offended when they went, or not Nike. I'm sorry, New Line Cinema was offended. It was pissed off. They had a beef with Nike because they were fighting in court, and they were talking about how they weren't referring to the shoe. It wasn't going to be called the Freddy Krueger, and it was supposed to just be the colorway. But in internal memos, they were basically calling the shoe that exactly, and they had to go through an entire intensive legal battle that just pissed everybody off. And they said, no, you'll never get the license for it. So they can't put the shoe out. Right.
Agreed to release an Air Max 95 in the Freddy Krueger colorway.
Just the colorway though. It's the color. They didn't refer to the shoe as like the Freddy Krueger is a mantra that was attached to it as a nickname by us. It's just a different colorway. You know what I mean? It's not an official Freddy Krueger New Line Cinema collaboration. You know, it's not like we have it.
That's for the law, man. Now you're talking my Grail. Now you're talking. There you go. This is getting my juices flowing, man.
That's for you. That one's for you, dude. You go get that one if you know.
Yeah, dude. What was it again? What's it called?
It's the Freddy Krueger Nike SB.
Okay, all right.
Better have 23 grand or 30 grand or 50 grand.
Bro, and that's like one of the coolest stories to me.
One of the coolest stories ever.
It released through Mexico because the skate shop in Mexico had no idea that they weren't supposed to release them early. They let them go, and those pairs, and the rest were supposed to be burnt. That's how you get the oil, which is kind of iconic because Freddy's burnt, so the oil makes sense on the shoe. Like, come on, man.
I had no idea about this.
I want that shoe so bad.
All right,
it looks so good. It's such a good colorway. It's such a good colorway. The materials are amazing. Go look it up. After this, look it up. You're gonna be like, "This is cool. This is like the coolest shoe ever."
Yeah, I'm gonna
faked though right now. Like, because I think I heard somebody say that they have seen more out there than realistically would have been made it out of the fire in Mexico and everything.
Right. So there's a finite number of them, but yeah, it's one of the most, if not the most heavily counterfeited shoe out there. But that's why it's hard to buy it.
For me, it doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter because it never was released. So it's not like you're gonna find someone that can go, "Oh, this is real. This is fake." You're not gonna be able to compare them side by side, right?
And the thing is, there's like two different variations of it, right?
Yeah.
Like there's two different. Like there's the sample pairs that are out there that are a little bit brighter, and then you've got the ones that actually were supposed to release. Oh man, that Halloween pack was gonna be so cool. I always hated that they made the Jason Voorhees a high. They should have kept it as a sample low.
Yeah.
SB Collector has like 10 pairs of them.
Oh, yeah, dude, that dude has everything. Him and Art of Sneakers have everything.
That's insane, and even to me that, you know, he and I had a little bit of a beef on Instagram about the hoarding of sneakers, because, you know, to me that's I don't know, unfair. I don't know if the equity, you know, I don't know what it is, but I just find it odd that when you know that there's a, you know, a limited number of something, and then you have all of them, and you know, that's weird to me. Like, I know he wears them and I appreciate it. He's been in the game a long time and, you know, owns a sneaker shop and all that. And I appreciate that. It's just, to me, that's unfortunate that somebody won't be able to get, and he wears a size 9, of course. And so anything that he decides to corner the market on, he will corner the market on. And you're just like,
absolutely.
wow, I guess I'll never be able to get that. And he's not coming off of them, and he's not selling them. And I'm pretty sure he's got, some sort of, grandiose, warehouse that has, the stuff that he just keeps on ice. And like, that's unfortunate, because then the grails aren't even grails anymore. They're what, like a figment of your imagination? Like, and even a word that I was thinking about that kind of goes along with that is, you hear dream. Like, again, I hate to bag on Harrison Neville, but I will. He uses the term grail and dream too loosely. Like, it's just, to me, that's like something that's not a reality. Oh, here's my dream Porsche. Oh, but I bought it. Is it a dream then?
Yeah.
Like, because you just bought it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. It becomes very ambiguous at that point. And I'm a 9.5 too, so I'm in the same world as you are. So when I see that he's got 6 pairs of Krugers, it hurts my soul. It does, because I'm looking at StockX right now, a size 9. Wait, Eric, what size do you wear?
I'm a size 10, 10.5, depending on the brand.
All right. So there's only one available on all of StockX for the Freddy Krueger, a size 9. Okay. I can hook you up for $50,000 right now. Just say the word and I'll hit the button.
What did it retail for? That's the real question.
$100. And mind you, there was probably like 20 pairs that the Mexico shop had.
No way, man. Hell no. I'm not interested. Sorry, I'm not interested in 50,000. I can't. Man, I can't justify more than 120 for a pair of shoes sometimes. Like,
not yet.
Not yet. I know. I'm going down the rabbit hole, and I'm just getting started. But you guys explained the term grail. Like, this is like a history lesson almost for me. Garrett, you kind of brought in the history, but it's like, I've seen like you guys have the war stories, and you've been in the battles and stuff, and it's fun, man. I love being a part of the community, and I'm new to it, but it's good. And I hope you guys can get some of your grails. I mean, those Krugers, if they ever, James, if I ever you're never gonna get them. I'm sorry.
No, it's a holy grail. Nobody gets the holy grail. That's the point. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't exist. It's more of a unicorn than a holy grail.
That's a good point. I guess that's a distinction that can be made.
Figment of your imagination.
Yeah, it's not there. It's a fairy. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. It's Roger Rabbit. It's cool to look at through the screen, but I'm not gonna get it. I'm not paying 50 racks for that. It's crazy. My wife.
I would throw in, Eric, just since you're newer to it, because I've done this. I think we've all fallen into this. I would be very, very wary about your continuous buying of, say, like a GR or retail, because you will look around and you will have 300 pairs of things you do not wear because they're just not that important to you. And I know many people who will speak to that, man, I got so many shoes I never wear because I got them for retail. I thought I had to cop, and you just don't want them.
I go on my own little quests, and I find little, bargains that I like. I use the apps. That's what I like Go and StockX for, is finding little tiny, deals. That sometimes you can find if you're just going in and, hey, I want to take a look at this, maybe I can get a deal on it. Sometimes you can get a deal, but I know sometimes I'm gonna have to pay above to get what I actually want, and I'm not that unrealistic. But this is a new world for me, I think, and I really got to think about what kind of grails there actually are in my world,
I'm just sitting here staring at all Dave's GRs back there that he's paid, say, $100 here for, $150 there for, that he doesn't wear.
What? I wear everything.
Hold on. What about those stockings from Sneaker Politics?
The Air Max one.
What?
Right to your left shoulder. The Air Max
I wear everything. I wear
Cafe
everything.
Du Monde?
Yeah,
what?
Those.
Yeah. But and that's the thing. Like, here's the beef that I have with grails as a whole. Like, when I look at a Grail, even if I got it, I don't think I'd wear it because of the hassle about it. You know, that's a shitty thing that, like, I don't want to put all this work in to go get this shoe, and I get it, and the last thing I want to do is put it on my feet for whatever reason that may be, whether the effort, it costs too much for me to ruin, right? I don't want that. So there are tiers of levels, and I keep saying tiers because at some point I'm no longer wearing that shoe ever, right? But then you've got a shoe like a Para Cherrywood, right? I want that shoe. There's 256 of them, but I would wear that shoe. It's still in an area where I would want to put that on my feet. And the scary part is that it's probably gonna get released again at some point. It's not unsafe. You know what I'm saying? Para gets a new shoe, eventually they'll want to bring it back and do it again. We saw it with the clots. The clots were back and they didn't do dick this time around. Still sitting on shelves in some places. So like those shoes, I don't, it's hard for me to go after that tier, that mid-level Grail-esque or harder to find, cooler ass shoe that was more limited, because they'll probably bring it back. Bacon's, clots, whatever's next. I'm sure there'll be something on that list, but because no shoe is safe, like I don't feel comfortable going after those high dollar things. And then if I did, the time spent, the money, the investment, the effort is just, I wouldn't put, like if I got Krugers, they're not going on my foot.
Yeah,
it's not happening, right? And that's no fun.
That's a good point, and that's kind of like brings in my other rules. I don't buy anything that doesn't go on my feet. Like if I'm not gonna wear it, it's not getting in my closet. Like that's just, I'm not a collector like that because I don't do it for resale. Like and if I'm not gonna wear it, I'm not gonna buy it.
But there is I mean, there's something to say about getting a pair of shoes that maybe because you don't like it, it also comes back as capital for you, right? Like there are shoes, if I would have had that extra pair of TSs that I missed, that I should be more upset about, I would turn that and flip it for something that I care to have. So one of the Grails that I was able to get, I traded a bunch of pairs of doubles that I had because I knew that it was going to be hard to get these shoes. I had no interest in selling to make a profit. I needed to I wanted to have just in case, so I don't spend any extra money. You know what I mean? So even though I gave away 10 pairs of shoes, that 10 pair cost me, I don't know, $2,000 total. But in, you know, what I got for that $2,000 that I spent was much, much more. Yeah. Right. So it was a way to acquire tokens, the capital that I could keep in the back of my, like I have tons of shoes that I'm never going to wear. But when that time comes, that shoe's going first one out the door to get the one that I care for.
And I just bought a good point, James. I just sold. I landed that blue-green pair of ALD 550s. Sorry, Justin. I flipped them. I sold them because I'm not wearing that shoe, and I got triple. I got triple that shoe. I'm not wearing it.
Yeah, I would have flipped it too, bro. Quick.
I'm about to flip mine. What? I'm about to flip mine.
Come on, God damn.
But I did it like Dave, like we talked about before. But like they pissed me off on the 1300, and then out of spite, I bought the 550 in the ALD colorway because I knew I'd be able to flip it, and so I got it and I flipped it.
That's why I'm tempted to flip mine. Is out of spite because I'm still angry at ALD right now.
Oh man, yeah. Dave, can you tell that story?
Did you get the 1300 yet?
No, man, no shipping. They stopped responding to my emails. And it's not like I've emailed them every day. Like I emailed them, I think 4 times so far over the past 6 weeks, which isn't crazy. And I'm just like, don't send me a generic email, like respond and tell me, because I don't care about the time. I care about like the customer service. Just tell me that, hey, we had more orders than we expected. We had a few that came back that were, had glue stains, blah, 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 blah. So we're waiting for another shipment. It'll be another 3 weeks. Okay, that's fine. I'm cool with that. Just say it. Just tell me that, right? Yeah, but when you go radio silence on me and you have money that from me, that's wild. That's absolutely wild. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and this is the month of the supposedly regular release of them too. So
yeah, and that's I don't think they're getting a regular release now, but
you don't think so?
No, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Those prices are gonna go up now, damn it.
I might sell that shoe too, just out of spite.
Don't say
I like it.
crap.
Do that shit. Sell that shit. Get it out. You don't need it. You don't even want it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Use that. Get some Freddies, bro.
Oh man, I can't help it. Like, you know, I don't know. For me, I've been a big fan of ALD for a long time. So yeah, it hurts when I hear that.
Call
But
your
hey, you know, it
boy.
is what it is.
Call
Here's
your
the
boy Teddy to help me.
Yeah,
he needs to
I'll
respond.
have to find his line. Yeah.
Look,
Call
Justin, you tell him
Ronnie
he
to apply
tell him he
pressure
can
to
keep
Teddy
them.
to give him
That's
his
Tell him
shoes.
Or that. Look, all I need you to do is I don't even want any of those, right? I'm saying I just need those 997. So if we can make that work out, I could be down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got both pairs of those. So
What's up, dude? I wear 9. What's up?
that I do have 9s in both of them. So
Yeah.
But
I got some Jordans. I'll hook you up.
But the purple, all right. So Justin, the
Yeah.
purple tongue 997s from ALD, right?
Yeah.
So for you, was that a grail? 'Cause I know you him and hard. I know you went back and forth on like whether you should buy it for a long time.
it took me months to decide to put the money down for those. Yeah.
But was it a grail? Would you consider that a grail for you?
No, I wouldn't consider that a grail. It was easy to get. I had no problem getting them. So for me, it wasn't a grail. It was I wanted to show support for a brand that I really love, and it was like a combination of two brands I love. So it was something I had to get, but it wasn't a grail.
I'm
What would you
chasing
say?
that shoe for the record. I've been chasing both of those, but I got to get the right number on it. Like,
Gotta get the right
just
price,
can't
that's
pay
right.
it.
Yeah, I might have overpaid just a little bit, but for me, in the end, it was well worth it. Like
Not for what it's going for now, though.
oh no. Like the yellow pair, I paid under 300 for those, and the what is it, purple, pink, whatever. That one I paid almost 400 for those. So
Did you get the friends and family too? The one that there's one yellow, one purple?
no, I didn't get that, but I got both pairs, so I could do the yellow purple. So that's what I got. I basically I took both pairs and I swapped them. So one box has a purple yellow and the other box has a purple yellow. So I got two friends and family. No.
Is there and I don't know this, and I'll just ask because you're here. Is on the friends and family, is there anything that you can tell that they're different, or they just truly just switched?
From Ronnie's IG story, it didn't look like there was anything like really, really different between the pair that he got and the general release. It looked like all Teddy did was give him one yellow and give him one purple, and that was it. So
Because I came close to buying that a few times, the friends and family, but I couldn't pull the trigger. I kind of just want one or the other. Like I don't want both.
I had to get both. That one was I had to get both. I didn't get both 990s, but I did get both 997s.
What is not? You didn't get the V5?
Yeah, I didn't get the V5 because in the early access they only let me choose one, so I chose the V2 over the V5. So
You picked the right one.
yeah, that they started doing the early access after the 997, so that's why I had to pay resale for the 997s. But the rest of it, the ALD kept on giving them to me. So
That floral pattern footbed, man, that's what's drawing me into those, because that you don't see that on any. I can't think of any like different, like they don't usually do that in the insoles on those 997s.
Those are pretty cool.
That wild.
Yeah, that, and I mean, the tongue colors I really liked too. They both work really well in my opinion. So, and I got all the accessories, but
those are really good. Those are probably my favorite ALD shoes, is the two 997s.
Oh yeah, no, they're definitely my number one out of all the ones they've done so far with New Balance. Yeah.
Dave, do you have those?
Nope. No.
Yeah, no, I tried to get Dave onto ALD a lot earlier, but he just wasn't having it. So
No, I think I tried for those and I wanted those, but it just wasn't happening. And another thing that I wanted to say just about Grails in general is that since 2015, a lot of things, most things I think aren't grails. Like I think it's hard to classify anything past 2015 as a grail, just in general, because there's nothing that's huntable. There's really, I mean, there really isn't. Like, you know, like Eric, you said, like that Paperboy, you know, 992, it only released in one place, right? It released in Paris at this, you know, coffee shop, and that was it. And
Yeah.
so, but it's not, you don't have to hunt for it. It's there. But
Yeah.
and that I feel like, you know, ruins the grail status of a lot of shoes. And so like I don't know, like I think back, and there's nothing from the past 5 years that like I'm willing to pay over retail for.
Well, I mean, you could always hunt for a lower price. It's not the same as
Yeah, I
hunting
mean,
for the pair, but you could always hunt for a lower price. So
Yeah.
I think that, but that's what that is. You know, that's the
Bargain
hunt.
shopping.
That's what we all.
Yeah.
That's what we all do. Like,
yeah,
I hate StockX because that's not my price. I'd rather do a little bit of legwork and get it for the price that I want. But I mean, you're right, Dave. That it's like accessibility it's all there for most stuff. Probably from 2010 down. So it's like it's hard to consider anything from prior to that unless it fits a certain thing. Or a certain event, moment, or situation that would even garner that attention. I mean, like what the Marty McFly's, you know, the one pair, the 90 pairs that were released, like that's a grail. But who's gonna get those? And the shitty part is that they're all like they're either gonna be way out of our price range. They all are out of our price range because they're dumb. It's stupid money that makes no sense to me at all. And then the effort to get that, you know what I mean, or pry it away from whoever has it. It's just unnecessary, and I don't think there are people that are willing to do it unless you have the money, time, and the worst and most of all is the access to it. So I don't think anything from right now isn't there and won't be for another couple, you know, another decade or so, and then maybe we consider those shoes as they become more appreciated by the collectors. But at the same time, you know, the sneaker scene is mainstream now.
Yeah.
It's completely mainstream, and these shoes don't have that anymore because we were a subculture for years. Instagram and Facebook and everything else brought a lot of this to the mainstream. So a lot of the things that were keeping things kind of quiet, that you could even have those Nike Talk type of conversations, aren't there anymore, because it's always in your face. You're aware of everything. Every shoe that drops, you know about it. You're gonna know about it ahead of time. The videos that I put out are shoes that aren't coming out or that are coming out in 5 weeks. You know, like the information is there, where to get them is there, how to get them, and if you didn't get them, here's where you can get them. So like that element of prestige just doesn't exist right now. And maybe it will again down the line. But again, what shoes dropping that they only dropped 10 of or 20 of or 30 of? That'll become somebody's grail. And how did I miss it, or why didn't I get it? Because a lot of it has nostalgia or something specific that drives us towards it, right? You know, the biggest Wu-Tang fan wants the shoe because it's the homage to that shoe or whatever, or the horror films, or the SB heads who really want these type of things, but it's just not there.
Just get the Iowas. They're the same, right?
Got them right here. They're literally
there we
right
go.
there.
There we go.
I'm saying I'm gonna just say I'm trying to get a stencil.
Customized.
No.
Got it.
Got
it for $100.
For me, the most recent pair for me that, I mean, it's the closest thing to a grail that I would call it, is the LA MJC Rebirths that got released in Paris. What is it? 500 pairs got released.
Oh yeah.
And that, to me, that's the closest thing that I would say is a grail. It took me, I think I waited like 6 months or close to a year for the price to get to a point where I was like, okay, yeah, I'm willing to drop money on it now. And I ended up picking it up for $500, but I got the whole package, right? I got the backpack, I got the socks, got the hat, got all the trimmings with the shoe, and for me, it was definitely worth it. Would I call it a grail? No, but it's definitely the closest thing, in my opinion, to a grail that has come out post 2015. So,
but
I take that back. There are a couple shoes and that, just as we were started talking, that will probably gain Grail status soon enough to some people, but again, these shoes weren't released to the masses necessarily, but the DJ Khaled's, the blue and the reds, will eventually get to that status just because they're going to be out there and people will want them, depending on how much you like DJ Khaled. They didn't release in stores, so unless Jordan Brand does something crazy and decides to release them, though I doubt that. And then there's a shoe that I have a suspicion will probably grow to a great status eventually, and I'm gonna go on a limb here because it's a foamposite, right? It's the Paranorman, because you didn't buy that shoe, you got lucky to win it. You know what I mean? You had to, like I remember when I entered that thing, I sent this old ass picture of myself and had to be this whole thing on Twitter. You guys remember that? And that shoe is hard to find because they didn't make many of them, and they definitely didn't release them to the public like that.
Yeah, like I think that's really what defines some of the modern grails right now, right? Is that, like you were saying before, that defining moment. And so something like the Paranormans, it is a defining moment because it wasn't something that you got beat out by a bot for. And
Yep.
so, I think that in itself is one of those things that makes a shoe feel special. And Justin, I would say that those Asics that you grabbed, those are grails, and that's one of the very rare shoes that was re-released that did not diminish the status of the original.
That's how I felt, especially because I felt that because how they released it as well. They did something really similar to the original release, I thought, and I felt like they treated it pretty similar to how they released the original shoes. So to me, it's still like when I first saw them in person, I just went crazy. Like I remember, I don't know if you were there, David. I think you were when we went to was it All the Right in Queens? Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a certain person was wearing them. And I almost spilled something on them. I was like, oh shit, damn. But yeah, when I saw those, I was like, oh crap, I really gotta get myself a pair of those.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't I'm trying to think about the last shoe that I bought that I thought was a grail.
You consider one of ones a grail, though? Would you consider that, even though just because there's one of them? Or like something like let me see, like the A6 Black Koi, right? Like there's like one of those, maybe two. Like, would you consider that a grail, even though there's just literally one?
I don't know.
I don't.
I couldn't see myself calling those grails, because then all of a sudden, then you start calling like customized shoes grails and all that. Because I mean, there's so many shoes that customizers have, put their spin on, and those are one of one, right? And then now it's like,
absolutely.
I couldn't see myself doing that.
I think a grail too has to have like a number on it. Like even when Justin was talking about there being 3, to me that can't be a grail, because you don't really have the ability to get that shoe. Like even money, it goes into what you said, unicorn or mythical status or a figment of your imagination or a dream or whatever, because you really have no shot at that. And there's going to be somebody that money, what's the saying about money can't buy this, or whatever that is. Like you're not going to be able, if you had $1 million, there's somebody that's going to be like, no, I'm not giving you one of these. Like, it just doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm just going to sit on them. I'm going to sit on all 3 of them, and you're never going to be able to touch them.
Yeah.
Immense accessibility. And I think having one pair doesn't make it accessible to anybody. I think you have to have at least you have to have a handful, essentially, for me to believe, like there's a hunt out there for multiple. Not to be like Willy Wonka's little golden ticket. They're out there in a sea of chaos.
It's like
there's so many of us.
There's a possibility, even if it is a very, very, very minute possibility, the possibility of getting it is still there, though. That's where you get, because like I said before, the hunt itself is also part of the whole grail package. So
correct.
Yeah.
I would say there needs to be a size run. You got to have a size run.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So like for me, like the Volcano Gelite 5.
Oh man.
It's not a grail for me.
Really?
Because it never came in a 13. I'm never going to get that shoe. So like it doesn't exist. So for me, like it doesn't matter like you know, whether it pops up for $1,000 or $200, like it's not going to be in my size. It's not something that's ever attainable. So it's not a grail. I can't say, oh, it's a grail, because I'm hoping one day nothing, like unless Ronnie decides to re-release it with Asics, you know.
Yeah,
So it
I mean,
doesn't
it's funny
exist.
because that's like the shoe that for me is the closest in my whole existence in sneakers to a grail, because of my whole experience of trying to get it and then dealing with the whole volcano thing. And I've, you know, dealing with the volcano Jelly 3s and the 5s, and it was a whole episode of what
The
the hell am I
Alvarez.
doing? But yeah, so
You know,
that's really interesting.
I'm curious to see what shoe that has released and did release in masses will reach that legendary status, like the Paris Dunk, right? Like that shoe was out when it released. They released to the masses. Nike SB was still relatively new, but it was out there. Shit, they even hit sales for, you know. But now that shoe's like $50,000 to $150,000 shoe. Just we all missed on it,
Is it,
or you wore it.
it's funny to me now that, like, you know, thinking about like SBs and like the wave of popularity that has hit them, how there are so many that 2 or 3 years ago people did not care about that were on sale that are now grails, right? So like,
Time of my life, bro. I've been an SB head, dude. 2000, what? Let's call it 14 to like 16. Woo, bro, the number of $30 SBs that I picked up. Mwah! Oh, it was a great time to be alive. I got shoes that I had no business having for $30. Now they're going for like $800. Bucks for $55. You know what I mean? Barfs for 70. Iowas for 30. I was putting stupid, like random, like the lowest possible bid I can think of on StockX, and then it would hit. I'm like, dope. Nobody cares about the shoe but me.
I have
And then it went berserk.
I have an SB Dunk Grail that is hard to find. I don't know if it's hard to find because I haven't looked in a while. I look like maybe once every 3 or 4 months. And it came out very recently. The Gasparilla.
Gasparilla.
Yeah, it's all black with it has like the multicolored back with that
No,
are
I
like
know which one it
green,
is.
supposed to fray over time. And
Yeah.
for some, like I was like, oh, but it's an SB, like it'll be below retail at some point. And it never got quite low enough to the price that I wanted. And then SBs, of course, came back, and now I can't even find it. Like I can't even find it in my size. But like the last time I did see it, it was like $600, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. There's no way.
What size you need?
13.
Ooh, boy, I got you for $1,000 right now.
Yeah, no. It's not going
Say the
down.
word, I'll hit buy right now. It's right here. $1,000. Jeez, what the?
And I would buy Salmon Toe 1.0s for $1,000 if I could find
Check it
them
out.
for $1,000.
January of 2018. Okay, that shoe was $75.
Oh
Man,
man,
you missed it, Dave.
I missed my
Yeah,
window.
you missed it big,
I missed my
bro.
window.
They were unreal. 2018, and you could have had it big. And then it was that way. That lasted for, it's at that price for 4 months, and it wasn't until later that it went back up to $100.
Sheesh. I can't believe I
100.
missed it. I can't believe I missed it.
And then it
Being the
went
hype
from
beast.
185.
The hype beast Travis Scott BS that swept this country has killed all of those SBs. And we talked about this before, but and I know that some of those SBs released and the sneaker shop sold them for crazy amounts of money, especially in New York. They were releasing, they were pretty much free to sell them for whatever they wanted to sell them for. But, I'm talking about the lessers that people didn't like the Oompa Loompas, for example. Like that, no, those probably sat on shelves for, until they put them into dead stock, that's another misused phrase, dead stock, until they took them off the shelves and put them, in the back rooms or whatever. And then, all of a sudden Travis Scott wears, an SB, and now every SB on earth, jumped triple, quadruple. Like and like we've spoken to before, I really like, you were just talking about, or we were talking about earlier, James, the Freddy Krueger and the story and everything behind it.
Yeah.
Like, I like the story behind a lot of these SBs because they remind me of my childhood. Like, and that's
Absolutely.
cool. Like the Oompa Loompas, or even, you know, I like the Dorothy's, and you could get the Dorothy's. I remember looking at them, and then Travis Scott, and they were like $100, and then Travis Scott walks onto the stage and they jumped to 300. And I'm like, you killed it for me.
That was a $50 pair for me. But it's interesting to me because, yeah, that does suck. But it's a little badge of honor for me, because like the wave died, SBs died, and I was like, come on, come home, all of you, come with me. You know what I'm saying? Like it was one of the times where I got it right. I was like, I don't know why. We were doing a show, and I got into it with a younger guy whose SBs are dead. I was like, that's fine. It's cool if they're dead. I don't care if the hype is not there. I still like them and I'll wear them because I work in storytelling. So there is no other line or brand of shoes that tells a story or has a better theme than Nike SB. Point blank, period. I'll fight. You know what I'm saying? What's up?
Tell me more.
Just kidding.
I honestly don't know much about the storytelling behind the Nike SBs. Like,
Well,
what do you mean?
that's the thing, is every shoe is very themed and there's so many that have, like, there's a Wizard of Oz pair, which is the one we were just talking about, which, you know, you've got the most recent, right? You've got let's go down the Grateful Dead pair. They did the 4 pairs plus in the Friends and Family pair. You've got the Freddy Krueger dunks. You've got Chunky dunks. Hell, the ones I was wearing today, because it's Cinco de Mayo. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Nice.
this day, or the ones I wore yesterday, because yesterday was May the 4th be with you. I had my Jedis, and I did a midway switch into the Boba Fett's, because
nice.
you have to. You know what I'm saying? You've got the Chunky dunks. You've got the Iron Maidens. You've got I guess the only ones that wouldn't have had a theme were like the first generation ones. But after the first round in 2002, you started getting into the vamps, you know, vampires. You had the Taxi Tokyos in 06, the 2 different colorways. You have let me go, man, there's the list. There's the Medusas, there's the Walk of Fames, there's the let me just go off.
There's a bunch of them.
You know what I'm
There's
saying?
a bunch of them.
There's tons. There's tons.
There was the city pack, which was like the Paris, the London. What's the other?
London. Yeah, that's the thing. There was the Tokyo.
Yep.
Yep.
And then New York, was it New York City was the other one?
Yep. New York City had one.
And it's just I like the Gasparilla because I liked it because it was themed after a pirate, right? And like that for me reminded me of my childhood, because I loved reading like Treasure Island and stories about like pirates when I was a kid. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. And it was an all black shoe, which Justin knows I love black shoes. So like that was why I was attracted to it. And so I've always liked that dunks told stories. I've never necessarily liked how they fit on my feet, but they're amazing. And that storytelling is something that makes them cool. But in the modern era where we are right now, that's not what's selling people. It's just the hype and the rarity of things.
Absolutely. I mean, and I guess that's one of the things that sucks.
Yeah.
But again, that's why when that time frame hit and all those shoes were sitting that dirt cheap, like, and I got in there, that's why I wear that with pride.
And what it did cause, to bring it back, it did cause those to get into grail status, and it caused even further for certain people, you know, like the, you know, purple lobsters, and then you start finding out about the yellows and the blues and all those things that just didn't exist. And to me, like we've been talking about here, that they're not grails, they're just expensive, and they've been kind of pushed, you know, into the forefront, just like off-whites. No off-white is a grail. It's just not. There's ones that I'm interested in, but it's not a grail.
Right. And there's a difference between like a shoe being old, like a Futura like the Futura Dunk SB is a really awesome shoe. It's old and it's costs a lot of money, but I wouldn't call that shoe a grail, you know?
Yeah, I agree with the off-white stat. I would say maybe the Chicago ones could achieve grail status at some point, but
over time, sure.
I don't I don't
Who's
know.
wearing them though? That's my point. Like we were talking about earlier, like who's wearing that shoe? So there's always gonna be mini Chicago ones in the off-white in a box in someone's closet that they're trying to sell at some point. And like I think James alluded to, like how many people in the skate world just totally jacked up their SBs because they were skating them. Like
They
I'm
beat 'em.
sure, like out of those 36 Wu-Tangs that you talked about, there's probably a few of them that will never, like you don't want to wear them because they've been torn up. You know, they're gross. They've been kicked around. They stink.
Yeah, I mean, like I was no skater, but I got them because they were like, so SBs dropped when I was in college, and I remember you could get them for $25 on sale. Buy one get one free, 45. You know what I mean? Like I was just trying to look good, so I had a bunch of SBs that I didn't skate in because I was trying to look good for the ladies. You know what I'm saying? So mine held up the time, but everybody else who was wearing them was beating them to death. So you see fine pairs, and you're like, man, that shoe could have been worth some money. Hell, Heineken's used to we're sitting on the sale wall. Now that shoe's gonna cost you $4 racks just to look at it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that, and I don't know if that's unique to SBs having, because I'm trying to think like what shoe is dead right now. Like what shoe is like, can you go buy for 25, $70 that in a year or
Air
two
Max 90
is gonna pop? You think?
and Air Max 90. Air Max 90 is on the. It's on. I mean, shoes are like fashion. It goes in cycles. You know
Shoes
what I
are
mean?
fashion.
Yeah, so they'll come back around. Right now, you can get it like most of the 90s that aren't shit are sitting. The ones are a bigger deal. The 95s are getting more love. Hell, 96, 97s are starting to get more play. The 90s they'll come back around. I mean, the dunks were dead. Literally, Nike dunks, not SB dunks, were dead since let's call it 2009.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody wore them. Nobody cared. Now they're the bee's knees, to quote my dad. You know what I mean? Right now, they're dropping one every other week. SBs are back in the limelight. You know what I'm saying? Certain Jordans aren't hot right now. They'll come back around. They always do.
Yep, I remember.
Just wait till Travis wears them, bro. It'll be on.
Well, he's got those fragment Jordans coming out, so woo.
Yo, and I need 2 of them.
So these dunks were like the only dunks that I owned for so long, and I got them I think I got these for $70 off of StockX, and I thought it was just a cool shoe, and then now it's like ridiculous to try to buy this shoe. It's got the hideaway tongue. Says always bet on black on the tongue.
Is that a Wesley Snipes shoe?
What?
Wasn't that one of his catchphrases? Wesley Snipes.
Oh, what was that from? I forget what movie that was from.
What are we talking about?
I don't know. The only Wesley Snipes movie that I remember is Blade. So
48 Hours, man.
Hey, but do you guys remember the Nike Dunk 6.0, the Pro Bs?
No.
That series run. You remember that?
What year was that? Was that
early
2000s?
Probably early 2000s. They had a run. Man, you could buy those things at Journeys. That's where like the Rasta colorway was super dope.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yep.
It wasn't quite a dunk, but it wasn't quite a dunk SB. It was something in the middle. I mean, they had fire ass color. Bro, I need to just quit. I stopped.
I mean, you already got a huge collection, so
it's dumb. I love it.
How many?
Gotta open that second storage unit. Show us that second storage unit.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to go to LA for the second one.
Do you? I mean, is it cool if I ask approximately how many? Do you have any idea?
I have a rough idea. I'd rather not say, but
that's fine. That's fine.
It's a lot. It's obnoxious, but I like it.
Hey man, I like at least you got them in storage and stuff. Like there's a saying that I heard. You know, there's a difference between hoarders and collectors. Collectors have storage units and display cases. You know,
yeah.
And like that's kind of like collections. You know, if you have a big collection, it is what it is, man. That's your collection.
You know, the thing is, I had a sweet sneaker room. It was awesome, and then we had a baby, and I lost my room.
Look at you. You and I are in the same boat. I
know what I'm
had a sweet sneaker room and I had to give it up to my son, but so then I just took over my wife's closet. And now that's that.
Bro, my wife has her own closet full of sneakers. I have to put some of hers in my storage unit. My daughter's pair, I have my daughters. I have their pairs. Like, I bought a bunch of their shoe sizes in various sizes. So like right now, my oldest is a 4C. So all of her 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to like high school pairs that I have for her in the storage. So right now the 4Cs are in the house, but the 2Cs will be coming back once my youngest is old enough to wear those, and I got to bring, it's a whole thing.
That's cool though, man.
It's called family planning right there.
Yeah.
Dead ass, bro.
At least you got the hand me down. At least you got that hand me down. Now it can it's like getting like the full lifetime use.
Sustainability right there.
Absolutely. I'm like, look, I just buy a bigger size for Ryan, and it goes down, and I'm like, the only thing I have to buy of every single size is her beater pair. So we're going out. I'm like, those got to go to your little sister eventually. Put these on. Destroy these Air Force Ones, these black ones. Just do whatever you need to do in those. Take off your Travises. Go on your sister.
I just had a daughter not too long ago, so I'm kind of excited.
Oh, congratulations!
To get into that too.
Yeah,
that's a cool little thing. Like I haven't bought her a pair of like sneakers yet, because she's so young. But that's in the pipeline for sure. Get her a pair of NBs someday.
Watch out, they grow out of them so quickly. My son has 9 pairs and he just bam, 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 bam.
Man, I lucked out. My wife is 4'11" and I'm not very tall, so my daughter grew very slowly. So she's worn all of them, everything, more than 5 times each, which is crazy.
We have a couple of pairs that he just straight up skipped the size. Like he wore that so much and he just skipped over the sizes.
I'm selling them once they didn't wear them anymore. I'm selling them and putting in their college fund.
There you go. He's not lying.
I'm not. That's gonna happen. So if she skips
you gotta listen to our podcast on sneaker budgets. We talk about that.
I heard about that. Yeah. No, I listened, man. I listened to the sneaker budgets one. Yeah, that's a good call, man.
Where were you guys when I needed you in like high school?
What's that?
I said, where were you guys when I needed you in high school? And it was mowing lawns to buy sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, just obnoxious.
That's the time to buy them when you're in high school. Is when you don't have the.
Yeah, but if I needed to stop when I became an adult, and that just didn't happen. Now I got storage units, Dave.
I know. You never took a break. See, I took the break. I think Garrett took a break.
Yep.
We took the break in college. I was like, all right, it's over. We gotta
broke.
Like my break was supposed to happen during that SB run, and instead I just bought all the SBs while they were cheap. On a budget. Garrett, that was on a budget. You see there? I made it.
All my money was going towards fast women and alcohol in college. So that's all not food, not clothing, not shelter. I was trying to, get me some dates, and that was about it.
Exactly. That's why I had to go buy the shoes so the fit could be right, so I could do the same thing. I was in there looking nice and trying not to work as hard because I didn't have any more money for the booze. I had to make it happen quick.
I rocked the Chucks every color and could still get it done.
I honestly don't even remember half of the shoes that I wore in college. Like, I think I probably had some Nike skate SBs, but like that's it. I don't even remember like anything from college other than one pair of shoes, and it was a Nike SB.
And that was just it was just luck of the draw. I wasn't buying shoes that I was like, yo, these are gonna be the Heinekens are gonna be great one day. I just had a really cool green shirt because my school colors were green and white. You know what I'm saying? So they matched. I'm like,
yeah. And
they're only $25. If I do that, that leaves me $5 for 2 beers. We could do that. You know what I mean? That could work.
Yeah.
2 beers. That was your problem. I had like 12.
It was I was just trying to make it all work. I was on a budget. You know what I mean?
He was trying to do it all. He was trying to he was
trying to be involved.
I was
trying to get drunk, get laid, and get shoes all at the same time on $35.
Gotta have some nice shoes for that, man.
You know what I'm saying? It had to work.
Oh man. So anything else you guys want to talk about for Grails before we wrap up? Any last thoughts?
I'm good. I actually got to run. I got babies screaming in the back.
Yeah, I mean I think we pretty much said it all.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, no doubt. Glad everybody could get on. Garrett, I'm waiting for your next topic to drop so I can schedule another one of these.
I would just add as we go out, something that I would always say, like, I think for me, and I am a budgeting person, and I am someone that likes the deal, and I'm very frugal about my purchases in the sneaker game. I like the chase. And so when I, think about Grail, chase is part of that. And so I really enjoy the effort it takes to get certain things. And, honestly, as I become more and more disillusioned about the sneaker world, especially certain people that are now in the New Balance pool, I still really do enjoy talking to you all about it. I enjoy trying to find something out there for a decent price. As we were sitting here, there's a pair of 1530s, New Balance 1530s that no one really wants. And of course, I know about everyone that wears a size 9 now, and I'm glad I know Justin does now. But I just hit somebody up, and I saw that he was trying to sell this particular pair of shoes on eBay. And I said, hey, how worn are those? And he's like, not at all. And he was like, and mind you, that's not the friends and family price. And he's talking about me. Like he's saying that he's gonna hook it up, like, and to me, so that's cool. Like I like it because I've been looking at this pair for like a year, and it's nothing. It's not a Grail. It's not anything. It's just in my head, I don't want to pay a certain price, and I'm not going to pay a certain price. But it's really cool that there's people in this community that are looking out for me in that sense. And you start talking about, I said this before, but it's real. You start talking about other things about people's lives, and knowing, how authentic there are people that are in this world, and having other discussions, and seeing people's posts and responding to them, and having discussions about things that are more important than sneakers. And to me, that's, I guess, what keeps me coming back as I become more and more disillusioned is that chase. But then in that chase, meeting like really great people to have real conversations with.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well said.
Definitely. Couldn't have said it better myself. I really appreciate you all coming to hang out with me on a Wednesday. We're gonna do this again soon. If you guys have topics, let me know, and we'll get something together.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Good night.
Pleasure meeting you guys.
Yeah, nice meeting you too. Take care.
All right, guys.
Later, fellas.